Hey CoinHub fam! Today's XRP update is one of those moments that could shift the entire market narrative. A wave of developments is lining up, and they're all pointing towards something much bigger for Ripple and its token. If you've been following XRP for a while, you know the story has always been about adoption, regulation, and utility. And right now, all three are converging. The headline everyone's talking about is the launch of the first U.S. spot XRP ETF, expected to hit the market this week. The issuer, Rex Osprey, is rolling it out under the ticker XRPR, and it's scheduled to begin trading around September 18th. What makes this fund unique is that it won't just hold XRP tokens directly. It's also going to include cash, U.S. treasuries, and even some derivatives to give it more flexibility. That structure appeals to big institutions because it feels safer, more diversified, and it fits neatly into the regulations under the 1940 Investment Company Act. The bigger picture is simple. This ETF gives U.S. investors regulated spot exposure to XRP without needing to hold coins themselves, which could be a game changer for liquidity and legitimacy. This comes right on the heels of Ripple closing the chapter on its long battle with the SEC. Back in 2020, the lawsuit threw everything into doubt, but after multiple rulings and appeals, the dust has settled as of August 2025. XRP is officially not considered a security when traded on public exchanges, which takes a massive weight off its shoulders. Ripple still had to settle fines for certain institutional sales, but the outcome gave the clarity that investors and exchanges were waiting for. That clarity alone opens the door for institutional buyers who were staying out because of legal uncertainty. Now, with the case behind it and ETF products rolling out, XRP has a much cleaner runway for growth. On the market side, XRP is hovering around $3, and traders are eyeing key levels. The zone around $3.10 to $3.13 is where resistance kicks in, and if XRP can break through, it could trigger momentum toward higher targets. On the downside, support is being watched around $2.70 to $2.80, and so far, dips have been met with decent buying interest. At the same time, there's been some whale activity, big holders trimming positions since early September. That could be just profit-taking ahead of the ETF launch, or it could be positioning for a re-entry once volatility shakes out. Outside the charts, the macro environment could provide fuel. The Federal Reserve meets on September 17th, and markets expect a 0.25% rate cut. Lower rates typically help risk assets because borrowing gets cheaper, liquidity increases, and investors rotate out of bonds and cash. If the Fed leans dovish, it could align perfectly with XRP's ETF catalyst to give the token an extra push. Ripple isn't just relying on XRP price action either. The company is expanding aggressively. Its stablecoin, RLUSD, is being audited monthly with segregated reserves, which strengthens trust. Ripple is also exploring a U.S. banking charter, which would put it under the same umbrella as traditional financial institutions and open the door to new services and partnerships. Globally, regions like Singapore and the UAE are welcoming crypto with open arms, and Ripple is well positioned to benefit from those favorable regulations. All of this builds into the big question: can XRP realistically hit $5 by the end of 2025? It's not impossible. The ETF launch, institutional inflows, regulatory clarity, and global adoption are exactly the ingredients needed for a major rally. But risks still remain. If the ETF underperforms, if whales unload too heavily, or if global markets face shocks, XRP could stall. There's also the reality that competition in the crypto space is fierce, and Ripple will need to keep pushing innovation and adoption to maintain its edge. For now, the roadmap looks promising. If XRPR attracts strong inflows, if the Fed delivers a supportive stance, and if XRP can convincingly clear resistance at $3.13, the path to $5 becomes far more realistic. The market will be watching these next few days closely, especially around the ETF debut and the Fed's decision. So the takeaway is this: XRP is stepping into a new chapter. The legal shadow has lifted, the ETF spotlight is about to shine, and institutional money finally has a clean way in. Whether you're bullish long-term or cautious in the short run, this week marks a turning point. The only question now is whether XRP can convert this momentum into the breakout so many holders have been waiting for.